All right, y'all, we give praise and honor to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach this day. We're going to pick this up in John chapter 5, verse 39. Search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life, and there they which testify of me. And you will not come to me that you might have life. I receive not honor from men, but I know you that you have not the love of Elohim in you. I come by Abba's name, you receive me not. If another shall come in his own name, him you will receive. Shalom, G. How can you believe which receive honor one from another, and not the honor that comes from Elohim only? Do not think that I will accuse you to Abba. There's one that accused you, even Moses, in whom you trust. Had you believed Moses, you would have believed me, for he wrote it. If you believe not his writings, how should you believe my words? Shalom, 10K. All esteem and praise to Abba and Shamayim in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Come on, Civic. Psalm 88 and 1. After that, Psalms 45 and 1.
O Yahuwah Elohim of my salvation, I have cried day and night before you. Let my prayer come before you. Incline your ear unto my cry. For my soul is
what's happening, Brody?
And my life draw near unto the grave.
What's going on, Dave?
I'm counted with them that go down into the pit. I am as a man, no strength. Free among the dead, like the slain that lie in the grave, whom you remember no more, and they are cut off from your hand. You have laid me in the lowest pit, in darkness in the deeps. Your wrath lie hard upon me. You have afflicted with all your waves, Selah. You have put away my acquaintance far from me. You have made me an abomination unto them. Shut up, and I cannot come forth. My eye mourn by reason of affliction. Yahuwah, I have called daily upon you. I have stretched out my hands unto you. Will you show wonders to the dead? Shall the dead arise and praise you, Selah? Shall your loving kindness be declared in the grave, or your faithfulness in destruction? Shall your wonders be known in the dark, and your righteousness in the land of forgetfulness? But unto
Peace,
you,
Brother Ernest,
cried, O Yahuwah, in the morning shall my prayer convince you.
That's good. Psalms 45 and 1.
My heart is inditing a good matter. I speak of the things which I have made touching the king. My tongue the pen of a ready writer. You are fairer than the children of men.
Fairer.
Grace is poured into your lips. Therefore, Elohim have baruched you forever. You already swore upon thigh, Almighty, with your esteem and your majesty. And your majesty ride prosperously because of truth and meekness and righteousness. And your right hand shall teach you terrible things.
That's good. Proverbs 17 and 9. Peace, Brother Dave, man.
He that cover a transgression seek love, but he that repeat a matter separate friends.
He that cover a transgression seek love. Proverbs 10 and 12.
Hatred stir up strifes, but love cover all sins.
Very well. I'm about to read y'all Protocol 10. We didn't read any of the protocols last night. But we were reading one of the protocols. I read one of the protocols from Mama Steph earlier, and it's going to be relevant to certain things in the text that we discussed. So I'm going to start in protocol number 10. Let me make sure I'm at the beginning of protocol 10. This is the protocols of the elders of Zion. In the protocols of the elders of Zion, the author leaves a note. In that note, he says, replace Zion, Z-I-O-N, with Sion, S-I-O-N. Replace Jewish with Illuminati, and replace Goyim with cattle. Also, according to the people at the top of the food chain, the populace at large is considered to be useless eaters. That's how you're described. We discussed some things last night that it pertained to the beast, with him, the mark being a sign of a covenant, him making an idol that'll come alive to distort what's in Psalms 115. But there's other elements contained in here in this protocol. It's another protocol where they literally say they want to turn you against God. Now, we were having a conversation with a gentleman, and I'm aware of this because this is accurate, that most ultra right-wing conservative Christians, Ku Klux Klan people, they take this particular book, pamphlet, whatever the hell you want to call it, and use that as a means to perpetuate anti-Semitic leanings, if you would. See, we had a couple videos taken down because they said it had medical misinformation. You know what I'm saying? So discussing this particular document, this video could be taken down. I'm just going to give you a head because they could deem it to be hate speech. They could deem it to be anti-Semitic renderings because now the Georgia Guidestones is different. The Georgia Guidestones is well after the protocol. Shalom, Mika. It's well after the protocols of the elders of Zion. I know. It's Emma. Are you familiar with the Georgia Guidestones?
Depopulation, right?
Yeah. But see, she didn't even know. Okay, I'll tell you about it right now because she didn't know about the protocol Elders of Zion. So that's why I'm asking about it. Is she even if she's aware of it? Let me get some information for you right real quick on the Georgia Guidestones. This is an historical landmark monument in Elbert County, Georgia, and it's basically a guide to humanity to conserve nature after nuclear war. There's conspiracy videos about it. I'll just send you the Wikipedia part on it. But it was, it stood there from 1980 to 2022. Oh, I'm sorry. It was made about 10 feet, 3 inches tall. It's called America's Stonehenge. The monument's creators believed that there was going to be an upcoming social, nuclear, and economic calamity, and they wanted the monument to serve as a guide for humanity in the world which would exist after it. Controversial from the time of its construction, it ultimately became the subject of conspiracy theories, which alleged that it was connected to Satanism. It actually has been destroyed. So on the morning of July 6, 2022, the Guidestones were heavily damaged in a bombing from a vandal, and the debris and the Guidestones were removed by the local government later that day. So it's no longer standing. So I'm going to say you can't even drive there to go take a look at it because it's no longer standing. Shalom, Brother Craig. Yeah, I see that 10K. I didn't even know that because I don't really look into that, but I just seen that 10K. I looked up and seen you seen that, so I appreciate you. But I also want to deal to this afternoon because it's going to lead into that about the Pride of Life angle that we discussed a bit last night, because it's going to be very, very relevant to today's conversation. So with that being said, can you read me 1 John 2:15?
Love not the world, neither the things in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Abba is not in him.
Mm-hmm.
For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Abba, but is of the world. And the world passed away, and the lust thereof. But he that do the will of Elohim abide forever.
That's good. Now he said the pride of life, all that stuff passed away. I want you to give me Isaiah 51 it is. Give me 51:3, man, and tell me what. You can make it 1. Let me make sure I ain't tripping. I'm sorry. I get old, man. My mind get bad. I don't want to waste no time this afternoon. We got a lot of work to do. I ain't got time to waste. 51:1 is fine.
Hearken to me, you that follow after righteousness.
Pause. He said, hearken to me, you that follow righteousness. So that goes into the conversation we had last night about my sheep hear my voice and they follow me. If you hearken unto the righteousness that be of God, he said, listen to him. What does he say?
You that seek Yahuwah, look unto the rock which you are hewn.
So he told you to look to Abraham. So the first thing you would learn from Abraham is what? Abraham believed in Yahuwah and he counted to him for righteousness. That's what we told you to go look at him. And what else he told the ladies to do?
Into the hole of the pit whence you are dead.
Then he told her, go look at Sarah.
Look on Abraham your father and unto Sarah that bare you.
Paul, he said, look at Sarah. Shalom, Emma Shalom. Listen, when he tell the women to look at Sarah, look at how she conducted herself. Look at her behavior. You don't need to be, look at, man, it's a lot of people who get on social media in the world, wherever, and they have the nerve to talk about people who are more righteous than them. And that's amazing to me. You'll have people had a nerve to speak against Sarah. Oh, Sarah was this and Sarah was that. Shut your behind up. You would hope that you would be able to wash Sarah's panties on your best washing machine. You know what I'm talking about? And you still wouldn't hold a candle to it. Come on with it, man.
Look unto Abraham your father and unto Sarah that bare you, for I called him alone and baruched him and increased him.
Mm-hmm.
For Yahuwah shall comfort Zion. He will comfort all her waste places.
Listen.
He will make her wilderness like Eden and her desert like the garden of
Pause. Now he just told you that he gonna make Jerusalem like the paradise of God. So literally he gonna make Jerusalem like the Garden of Eden. What you see in Genesis 2, that's why the tree of life is there. That's why the rivers of water are there. That's why it's gonna come down from heaven, because he gonna make it like that. That's his intent. Continue.
Joy and gladness shall be found therein. Thanksgiving and the voice of melody.
Pause. That man say joy and gladness, thanksgiving and singing. See, a lot of people, they don't look at, man. I was in a Christian room one time where they asked this question. They say, why a lot of Israelites ain't got no joy? But I say a lot of Christians ain't got none either. The joy you have is not just joy when you sing in that service. It's the joy you have while you serving this man, while things are good, while things are bad, while things are slow, while things are quick. Because y'all know the joy of who is your what? That's your strength. You know what I'm saying? That's one of the fruits of the Spirit. You take joy in this man. There's a rejoicing of the Spirit, irregardless of what you encounter. Because you put your trust and hope in him. That's why he say, love not the world, nor things in the world, but have the love of the Father, because you will rejoice in him. See, we'll spend all day arguing about Godheads and is he this or is he that? And they missing the main points that will sustain somebody. These conversations or arguments that we have are not going to sustain somebody when life comes. See, that's what nobody wants to deal with. We can have all this information, but what are we going to do when life comes? You heard them people try to mock me when I said, boy, when life comes, you keeping a Sabbath day ain't going to do nothing for you. You know what I'm talking about? What you going to do if you had to sit there and watch somebody you care about pass away? What if you lost everything you had? What if your child died? You know what I'm talking about? What if you had some type of tribulation or some difficult situation that you had to deal with? What is you not eating pork going to do for you in that day? What is that going, Shalom, Jay? What is that? What is you knowing the breakdown of the Godhead going to do for you in that day? It ain't going to do nothing. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about that. And that's why they get upset when you tell them, I don't want to talk about, I don't care. You know what was funny? I heard people talking about the very thing that we were talking about last night, about how he made himself poor. And they thought that his riches was the miracles he was doing. But they started getting in the argument before I could ask their perspectives on Proverbs 13:7-8. They don't realize that the ransom of a man's life is his riches. He made himself poor because he gave up his life. That's how he was able to make you rich through his poverty. The ransom of his life was his riches, and he ransomed his life so you could get the riches, which is his life. My God, today. Come on, man. You back in Isaiah 51. But give me James 4. Ah, you wasn't ready for that. Give me James 4:1.
From whence wars and fightings among you, not hence of your lust that war in your members?
He said, you got wars and fightings because the lust that go on in your body.
You lust and have not.
You don't got nothing.
You kill and desire to have and cannot obtain.
You can't get it.
You fight in war, yet you have not because you ask not.
Because you don't ask God for it.
You ask and receive not because you ask amiss.
You know why a lot of people don't get what they want? Because they asking for the wrong reasons. And what reason is that, sir?
That you may consume upon your lust.
Because all you want to do is consume it on what it is that you desire. And that's why he don't give it to you. See, a lot of these brews complain about the white man ain't getting it to you. It's not the white man not getting it to you. God ain't getting it to you. Because he know what you're going to do with it. All these boys be complaining about how they can't get a wife. They want a third and fourth wife. He already know you only want that to consume that on your wee-wee. That's all you want it for. So he going to keep that from you. A lot of these boys don't realize he give you that fourth, fifth, and sixth wife so you can go to hell. Not because you got a fourth, fifth, and sixth wife, because you want to consume it upon your lust. He going to let them lust take you down. But nobody don't want to talk about that. Go ahead, man.
You adulterers and adulteresses.
Oh, my.
Know you not that the friendship of the world is enmity with Allah.
That man said if you're a friend of the world, you hate God.
Whosoever therefore will be a friend of the world is the enemy of Allah.
You his enemy.
You think that the scripture saith in vain, the Ruach hath dwell in us, lust to envy.
What else?
But he gives more grace, wherefore he said, Elohim resist the proud.
He resists the who?
Resist the proud.
He resists the who?
The proud.
Resist the who?
The proud.
And give grace
unto the humble.
That goes back to that pride of life. That's how the love of God ain't in. But let me take something and run this down real quick. Hey, boy, why you come in here acting up like that? Why you come in here like that? Oh, he got his knees out. You scaring my boy?
Thighs out.
My God, today. You scaring my God, son. Lord have mercy. Why you do that boy like that, man? I'd be scared too. That man said them thighs undeveloped. You don't squat.
Big squat.
That sounded real suspect. We know you don't do no squats, no nothing. We know you just sit on machines and watch movies on your phone.
It's crazy. I was just looking at that picture today.
Man, you just be looking at random niggas in your phone.
He said
Just stop.
I can't go out like that. He texted us in the little group thing today, so he looking at the pictures.
I hear you, man.
He said something else today.
Oh, I mean, you known to see niggas pictures in your phone.
The jokes, yeah.
No, we don't know what they for at this point. Yeah, it is. We all flabbergasted. Come on back to Isaiah 51. Isaiah 51,
Verse 4.
go ahead.
Hearken unto me, my people, and give ear unto me, O my nation, for a law shall proceed from me.
He said, hearken unto me, because the law do what?
Proceed from me.
Now look at what he's saying in John chapter 8, verse 37. Come on with it. I'll be all right, Emma. I just need to tell my wife to make some tea and put some honey in. No, we're yelling at your mama. No, throat got something. Sometimes my voice go away when that happens. The baby had a cold, my immune system strong, I sleep under the fan. This was the result.
I know that you are Abraham's seed, but you seek to kill me because my word have no place in you.
Go ahead.
I speak that which I have seen with my Abba, and you do that which you have seen with your father.
Come on.
The answer that said unto him, Abraham is our father. Yahweh said unto them, if you are Abraham's children, you will do the works of Abraham. But now you seek to kill me, a man that have told you the truth. Which I heard of Elohim. This did not Abraham.
Go ahead.
You do the deeds of your father. Then said they to him.
Notice that he said he proceeded from who? His father. Now go back to Isaiah 51 and see people supposed to pick up on that he was this verse talking about him, and he let you know that. See, they was debating this earlier about did Christ pre-exist. You know, a lot of people have problems with that. I don't know why you got a problem with this man pre-existing. I don't even understand why that's a problem for people. You really think this man would leave up the chance? Somebody told me this was a stupid question when I was like, so which sperm did he choose to jump in? If there's literally 1 million sperm and 1 ounce of ejaculate, or however much their ejaculate it is, then how did God know, let me put my son in this sperm while it's in this woman's womb, seeking to fertilize this egg? Yeah. Oh, because they don't believe that God put him in Mary. They believe that Joseph had sex with her and that Joseph is his natural father. What they're going to have a hard time rationalizing with that is because the genealogy in Luke says, and Adam, who is of God. So that means that Mashiach has to be of God in order to be of this lineage. You know what I'm saying? Because Adam is a son of God and his offsprings are the sons of God, literally, because that is his lineage. He did not have a natural father or mother. You know what I'm saying? Now, he did come from something natural because he was made from the adamant or the dust of the ground. But he did not emanate from any man's semen. So for them to say that it's impossible for God to create a man without the use of semen, then how did Adam get? And that's why some people say Adam was created by sex by other creatures. You have people who believe that Genesis 1 and Genesis 2 are 2 separate creation stories, and that there were people before Adam. And then, of course, there are cultural stories that if you lean to those, it will support that line of thinking. That's something that most of y'all may not be familiar with. You know what I'm saying? You have Sumerian creation stories. You know what I'm saying? You have a multitude of creation stories. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be able to discern when you're looking at them. You know what I'm talking about? Now, a lot of brews will try to act like they don't fool with those other creation stories, but truth be told, the points that they coming with come from those creation stories, whether they want to admit it or not. Most of them won't admit it though, but they'll try to denigrate those stories while using them to purport their doctrines. I know that much. They just not aware that a lot of us are aware of those creation stories. We just sit back and say nothing while they make a jackass out of themselves. You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there.
I didn't realize that Muslims believe that once y'all was born of immaculate conception.
Yeah, because I told you before, Islam was created by the Catholic Church. So a lot of the tenets of Catholicism is in Islam. So the Immaculate Conception and for full disclosure, if you don't know or remember what the Immaculate Conception is, because a lot of Israelites misconstrue the Immaculate Conception. The Immaculate Conception has absolutely nothing to do with Mary getting pregnant. Now I know Mama Steph knows because she went to Catholic school and Catholic church. But the Immaculate Conception is the teaching that Mary was never tainted with original sin. That's what the teaching is. That Mary was never tainted with original sin. It has absolutely nothing to do with Jesus. It has nothing to do with Joseph. It has completely everything to do with Mary. Shalom, Sister Regina.
But I didn't understand why they believe that he was born of a man, but at some time they believe he was from God.
Because it's a mixed match. I mean, it's made up. Like I think Teshuva said this yesterday that Shalom, Brother Marvin, Shalom, Sister Regina. I think Teshuva said this yesterday that a lot of Arabs over there right now are starting to pray to the daughters of Allah again. You know what I'm saying? Which I'm not privy to that information, but I know this gentleman here is pretty well read, so I can take him at his word that very well be an accurate assessment. If you're not familiar with the daughters of Allah, you can Google it. There's 3 statues, crescent moon statues, and those were the deities of the Middle East before Allah. Well, before the daughters of Allah, they had a different God for every day of the year, 360 to be exact. I want to say back in 2012, Shalom, when I was having a conversation with a Muslim dude, and he didn't deny any of those things. You know when he got angry? When I told him, your book say the prophethood and revelation belong to Isaac and Jacob and Muhammad come from Ishmael. How is he a prophet? He wanted to fight. I said, nigga, that's what your book say. I'm asking you a question about your holy text. Why you want to get mad at me? Because your book say your prophet ain't a prophet. You mad at me. Yeah, that's when I used to go around and just use the Quran to show Muslims that you need to put this down. But they didn't know that I've been reading the Quran since I was 15 years old, cuz. So you thinking I'm just some old Nation of Islam type dude? Nah, bro, I study Islam all the way out, bro. I'm talking about Sufi Islam, Sunni Islam, Shia Islam, 5% Islam, Nation of Islam. Man, get your funky behind out my face, nigga.
You reading some of the stuff you kind of like, I can see.
Oh, no, they weren't even close.
Oh, okay.
They weren't even close. You know what I'm saying? Not even close. See, 5% Islam teachings are Nation of Islam teachings. Nation of Islam teachings are Masonic teachings. Because Elijah Muhammad will tell you that before he was a Muslim, he was a Mason. It's in Message to the Black Man. He wrote that in his book. And when you know Masonic leanings, you can see that in their teachings. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's the supreme mathematics, that's a real giveaway. You know, knowledge, cipher, all that type of stuff is apparent. You know what I'm saying? If you are privy to that. Now, Shiite and Sunni Islam is just different executions of Islam. And then, of course, you got those who believe in the hadiths and those who don't. And the hadiths are just commentaries or things that Muhammad allegedly said or did. And that's where it comes from, where Muhammad said, if a woman's not around, you can have sex with a sheep. You know what I'm saying? I'll never forget reading that. Like, dang, boy, you that horny, you gonna have sex with an animal? Shalom, Sister Kelly. Say, just curious, how did he come out of the line of David? Me personally, I never delved into his birth. I just focused on his ministry. Oh no, I got to hold on. I think I missed something else. Is that what the Unitarians believe as far as Yahushua's? I don't know. I don't know too much about Unitarians. Sean, I can't even say, bro. I can't even say. Come on, let's get back online. Come on, Isaiah 51,
Verse 4.
verse 4. Hold on, they say he omni, all these things be limited time. Yeah. He say people don't ever read past Luke 3 to Adam. We can read it today, though. We can read both of them. Ain't gonna hurt nobody. Ain't that what Kid and Play said? You like that song you do the Kid and Play? That nigga looking at me and like, he don't know what I'm talking about. So you ain't ever say, ain't gonna hurt no. You know, get on down. My God, today.
What is that, family?
You trying to make me feel old, y'all. I don't like it. And he got his knees out. Come on, man.
Say, hearken unto me, my people, and give ear unto me, O my nation, for a law shall proceed from me, and I'll make my judgments a rest for a light of the people.
Light of the people.
My righteousness is near, my salvation is gone forth, and my arm shall judge the people. The isle shall wait upon me, and on my arm shall they trust.
See that? How he tell you that these Gentiles gonna trust in him? Come on.
Lift up your eyes.
Hold on. This is what I want everybody to do. Y'all know what I'm finna do. If you got a window open, I like for you to open it. Take a peer outside. He said, lift up your eyes to where?
Shamahim.
And lift up and the earth what?
And look upon the earth beneath.
Because the heavens will what?
Shall vanish away like smoke.
And the earth will wax old.
Like a garment.
And everything in therein is what?
Shall die in like manner.
I mean, he gonna kill everybody. He gonna burn it up. He gonna burn up the heavens. He gonna burn the earth and everybody in between. That ain't on his team. That's when he said that the word, he said, you know, all that will vanish away, but the word of God abide forever. That's what happens when you love the world. And the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life. Why would you want to partake in that? But since we mentioned the genealogies, we're going to go ahead and do it for those brothers and sisters who have not been privy to us having this conversation. I know a lot of people will tell you that this is talking about the genealogies of Joseph and Mary, and that's pure and utter stupidity if you ever heard it. And I'm going to tell you why. Because these people are supposed to be skilled enough in the word to show you where this stuff come from. Matthew 1:1. See, I'm not telling you that the people stupid. I'm telling you the people who telling us stupid. Because I don't blame the people. Because guess what? It's only your basis of searching information is only going to be based on what you were taught and what who allow you to know based on how ardently you seek after him. You know what I'm saying? And most people believe that they've arrived to get somebody to administer them the word. So they believe that this person know what they're talking about. But most of these niggas don't know what they're talking about. Now it takes an astute person and a very studious researcher and studier of the text, and among other things, to see that. And everybody's not like that, and that's okay. But Matthew 1:1.
The book of the generation of Yahushua HaMashiach, the son of David, the son of Abraham. Mm-hmm. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac begat Jacob, and Jacob begat Judas and his brethren.
Pause. So you're dealing with who? Abraham, Isaac, and who?
And Jacob.
And then he slides to who? Judah. Then he's going to mention the children that Judah had with Tamar. Go ahead.
And Judah begat Perez and Zerah Tamar. And Perez begat Esrom, and Esrom begat Aram. And Aram begat Aminadab, and Aminadab begat Nasan. Nasan begat Salmon. And Salmon begat Booz of Rechab. And Booz begat Obed of Ruth.
Pause. You notice that it mentioned Ruth by name. See, you know you got a lot of wicked niggas who have a problem with women. But there are certain women who have a memorial that Yahuwah will make mention that their name is always mentioned. Now you got to ask yourself this question. Why is Ruth's name mentioned? Because the level of faith that Ruth had. Ruth said, my God gonna be your God. My people gonna be your people. Where you go, I'm gonna go. Naomi say, baby, I'm old. You gonna wait for me to have another son? She said, I ain't worried about you having another son. I'm going with you. She deserved to have a memorial with that level of faith. She deserved to have one. Go ahead.
And Obed begat Jesse, and Jesse begat David the king, and David the king begat Solomon of her.
That's right, Omar.
Of Uriah's. And Solomon.
I mean, Omar said she had faith like Abraham. She left everything she had to go to a place she knew not. Go ahead.
And Solomon begat Rehoboam, and Rehoboam begat Abiah. Abiah begat Asa, and Asa begat Josaphat, and Josaphat begat Joram, and Joram begat Ozias. And Ozias begat Joatham, and Joatham begat Achaz, and Achaz begat Ezekias, and Ezekias begat Manasseh. And Manasseh begat Amon, and Amon begat Josias. And Josias begat Jechonias and his brethren about the time that they were carried away to Babylon. And after they were brought to Babylon, Jechonias begat Salathiel, and Salathiel begat Zerubbabel. Zerubbabel begat Abiud, and Abiud begat Eliakim, and Eliakim begat Azor.
Remember, Zerubbabel is he that's mentioned in the book of Haggai and Zechariah, working with Yahushua, son of Yehuzadak, to rebuild the temple. Go ahead.
And Azor begat Zadok, and Zadok begat Akim, and Akim begat Eliud, and Eliud begat Eleazar, and Eleazar begat Mathan, and Mathan begat Jacob. Jacob begat Joseph, the husband of Mary, of whom was born Yahushua, who was called Mashiach. So all the generations from Abraham to David, 14 generations. And from David until the carrying away into Babylon, 14 generations. From the carrying away into Babylon until Hamashiach, 14 generations.
Now I'm going to show you something. This still dealing with love, cover all sins. Why is this genealogy relevant? Can anybody tell me why this particular genealogy is relevant? It's going to tie him to the covenant made to Abraham and David. Now, we talked about the covenant to David the other day, because he said, I swore unto David that out of his loins, of the fruit of his body, shall sit upon my throne. We read in Jeremiah 33, he said, if you can break the covenant of day and night, then my covenant with David be broken, that he would have failed to have a son to sit upon his throne. You understand? And then, of course, you know, he promised Abraham that he would have a what? A seed forever. Now, when you look at from the scriptural standpoint, come over here to 1 Chronicles. And we literally want to deal with only 1 Chronicles chapter 3, because contrary to popular belief, everybody is not a king. And everybody from Judah is not a king. There's only one kingly line in the tribe of Judah, and that's David's line. And thank you. And just because you are of David does not mean that you are just because you're of Judah does not mean you're of David. So stop listening to all these damn fools telling you they a king. I'm Judah, I'm a king. Boy, you a regular nigga. And that's okay. Everybody want to be a king, everybody want to be a queen, but you don't carry yourself like one. You don't come for no royalty. The only time you sit on the throne is when you go to have a bowel movement. You know what I'm talking about? That's the only throne you sitting on. And that ain't no seat of esteem. That's the throne of excrement.
Some steam coming.
He said I had a dude fight tooth and nail trying to say it's a king of Judah out here somewhere. That's unfortunate. Come on and read me 1 Chronicles 3:1.
And now these were the sons of David, which were born unto him in Hebron. The first, Amnon of Ahinoam, the Jezreelites. The second, Daniel of Abigail, the Carmelites. The third, Absalom, the son of Maacah, the daughter of Talmai, king of Geshur. The fourth, Adonai, the son of Haggith. The fifth, Shephatiah of Abital. The sixth, Ephraim by Eglah, his wife.
Now I'm just reading this establishing we're going to stop. Shalom, Quran, man. Listen, she said the seed of stank. Listen, I'm only reading this because it gives David's offspring, and then it stops and gives you Solomon's offspring, and then it gives you the family of Judah, because there's a separation. There's a separation. It's not the same. Everybody don't come from that line. You know what I'm saying? Now we could look at from First Chronicles 2:1. Go ahead and run it.
These the sons of Yasharal, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Yehuda, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. The sons of Yehuda, and Onan, and Shalah. 3 were born unto him of the daughters of Shua the Canaanites. And the firstborn of Yehuda, was evil in the sight of Yahuwah, and he slew him.
That's right.
And Tamar, his daughter-in-law, bare him Pharez and Zerah. All the sons of Yehuda, 5. The sons of Pharez, Hezron and Hamuel. And the sons of Zerah, Zimri and Ethan, and Haman, Calcol and Darah, 5 of them in all.
I just want you to hear some of the same names you heard in Matthew, because you need to validate this with the text. I want to ask y'all a question. Of those of y'all who've been a part of Shalom, Ishmael, who've been a part of these conversations. How many of these people ever told you, let's go look at the chronicles of the genealogies in the text to line these genealogies up? Or did they just have a lot of pontification of nothingness? Because all I've ever heard is pontification of nothingness, me personally. But that's just me. Maybe y'all heard something different. I can stand to be corrected. I can be enlightened. Well, clearly no one's heard anything else. All they've heard is pontification of nothingness. Very well then, good sir. Continue on.
And the sons of Perez, Hezron, and Hamul, and the sons of Zerah, Zimri, Ethan, Haman, Calcol, and Derah, 5 of them in all. And the sons of Carmi, Akar, the troubler of Yasharal, who transgressed in the thing accursed. And the sons
now
of
that's the man in the book of Joshua. Y'all remember H.N.? She said, I've heard a few, but they still ended up at odds. Nothing gained, nothing learned.
I heard niggas that don't have understanding that Joachim, they're saying, y'all, how can y'all sit on the throne come from Joachim, the one that got blotted out from his lineage, but he don't even come from him.
He don't even come from him. And that's why, I mean, you have to go through the genealogies and chronicles, and then you can see who these people are. Oh, yeah, I heard a lot of people say it. That's their number one argument. Go ahead.
Saying the sons of Ethan, Azariah, the sons also of Hezron that were born unto him.
But I mentioned that H.N. was a dude who took the Babylonian garment and the silver. He was from the tribe of Judah. Go ahead.
Sons of Hezron that were born unto him, Jerahmeel and Ram and Calabai, and Ram begat Aminadab, and Aminadab begat Nashon, prince of the children of Yehudah. And Nashon begat Salma, and Salma begat Boaz.
You know who Boaz is? They say that's the one that don't want choke. That's what them people say at church. Go ahead.
And Boaz begat Obed, and Obed begat Jesse. And Jesse begat his firstborn Eliab, and Abinadab the second, and Shema the third, Nathaniel the fourth, Radah the fifth, Ozem the sixth, David the seventh.
Pause. That's all we want to establish. The way you see Matthew 1 come from, correct? Let's come over here to Luke 3. So this ties him to the covenant of Abraham, that he would be a people before Yahuwah, and it ties him to David, that he would promise to have a king on his throne. That's the purpose of that's the purpose of this genealogy. Let's look at this genealogy in Luke chapter 3. We begin in Luke chapter 3, and we'll begin at verse 23.
And Yahushua himself began to be about 30 years of age, being as supposed the son of Joseph.
It's funny that the text say as was supposed, and these niggas argue with the word. Go ahead.
Which is of Halai, which was of Mathat, which was of Levi, which was of Melchi, which was of Janna, which was of Joseph, which is of Matthias, which was of Amos, which was of Nahum, which is of Ezli, which was of Negay, which was of Math, which was of Mattathias, which was of Simei, which was of Joseph, which was of Yehudah, which was of Joanna, which was of Rasah, which was of Zerubbabel, which was of...
You see how you hear the same people name over and over again. Go ahead.
Which is of Neri, which is of Melchi, which is of Adai, which is of Kasam, which was of Elmadam, which was of which is of Joseph, which is of Eleazar, which is of Jerem, which is of Mathat, which is of Levi, which is of Simeon, which is of Yehudah, which is of Joseph, which is of Janan, which is of Eliakim, which is of Meliah, which is of Manan, which is of Mattatha, which is of Nathan, which is of David, which is of Jesse, which is of Obed, which is of Boaz, which is of Saman, which is of Nason, which is of Aminadab, which is of Aram, Esrom, which is of Perez, which is of Yehudah, which is of Jacob, which is of Isaac, which is of Abraham, which is of Terah, which is of Nachor, which is of Saruk, which is of Ragal, which is of Phalet, which is of Heber, which is of Salah, which is of Canaan, which is of Arphaxad, which is of Shem, which is of Noah, which is of Lamech, which is of...
None of these people were mentioned on this back end in Matthew 1. Go ahead.
Which is of Enoch, which is of Jared, which is of Malaliel, which is of Canaan, which is of Enos, which is of Seth, which is of Adam, which is of Elohim,
which is of God. Now let's go to Genesis 5:1, where this genealogy come from. Because this back end of the genealogy is Genesis 5:1.
This is the book of the generations of Adam. And the day that Elohim created man, and the likeness of Elohim made he him. Male and female created he them and baruched them and called their name Adam.
That's right.
From the day that when they were created. And Adam lived 130 years and begat a son in his own likeness after his image.
What else?
And called his name Seth. In the days
Called
of
his
Adam,
name who?
Called his name Seth. In the days of Adam after he had begotten Seth were 800 years. And he begat a son
God bless Brother Smoke.
And all the days of Adam lived were 930 years.
Now, y'all can go back and read Genesis 5 for yourself. You can see this in Chronicles 1:1 also. This genealogy is to tie him to Adam. What is the importance that Mashiach is tied to Adam? Because he has to be the one to redeem you from the power of the grave. He has to be the kinsman redeemer. Since by man brought death who was of God, then a man who was of God has to be the one to reverse it. So the genealogy in Luke is to tie him to Adam for the purposes of redemption from death. The genealogy in Matthew was to tie him to Abraham covenants that were made. It's really that simple. It's right there in the law. Be about Mary and Joseph. But that goes to what we read in Corinthians 2:9. To know the deep things of God, you got to compare spiritual things with spiritual. You know what I'm saying? You got to compare the word with the word. Not necessarily the precept upon precept, line upon line statement that everybody want to use. But you know what you're supposed to do. Isaiah 34:16. This is what you're supposed to do. Yes, ma'am.
Seek you out of the book of Yahuwah and read. No one of these shall fail. None shall want her mate.
Every one of them gonna have their mate.
From a mouth that have commanded, and ruach that have gathered them.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Hold on. There it is, Mama Steph. So listen, let's get to these protocols. It's protocol time. Everybody love a good protocol. I gotta get to the page. Hold on, y'all. That's protocol 12. I want to read protocol 10. Protocol 10, everybody. We're in the protocols of the elders of Zion. We're about to read protocol number 10. Shalom, Emma. Shalom. Today, I begin with a repetition of what I said before, and I beg you to bear in mind that governments and people are content in the political with outside appearances. Oh, my bad. Is this the one? Let me make sure this is the one I want. No, this is a specific one that I want. Okay, yeah. This will work for me. And how indeed are the goyim to be perceived the underlying meaning of things when their representatives give the best of their energy to enjoy themselves. For our policy it is of great importance to make cognizance of this detail. It will be assistance to us as when we consider the division of authority, freedom of speech, of the press, of religion, of the law of association, and equality before the law, the inviolability of property, the dwelling of taxation, the idea of concealed taxes, of the reflex force of the laws, all these questions such as ought not to be touched upon directly and openly before the people. In cases where it is indispensable to touch upon, they must not be categorically named. It must merely be declared without detailed exposition that the principles of contemporary law are acknowledged by us. The reason of keeping silence in this respect is that by not naming a principle, we leave ourselves free from action to drop this or that out without attracting notice. If they were all categorically named, they would appear to have been already given. The mob cherishes a special affection and respect for the geniuses of political power and accepts all their deeds of violence, which the admiring response, rascally, well, yes, it is rascally, but it's clever, a trick, if you like, by how craftily played and how magnificently done with imputed audacity. We come upon attracting all nations to the task of erecting the new fundamental structure. The project which has been drawn up by us, this is why. Before everything, as it is indispensable for us to arm ourselves and to store up ourselves the absolute reckless audacity and irresistible might of the spirit, which in the person of our active workers will break down all hindrances on our way. When we have accomplished our coup d'etat, do you all know what a coup d'etat is? A coup d'etat. Are y'all familiar with that? A coup d'etat is when a group of people, usually military personnel, overthrow the leadership. So in this particular instance, they say they are running. Sometimes it's called a coup, but when it's done by military personnel, it's when you add in the coup d'etat.
Is that like another kind of martial law when they say military?
Martial law is simply military rule. A coup d'etat is when the military overthrows the government itself.
Like a revolution type of law?
Not necessarily. Saddam Hussein rose to power through a coup d'etat. That's how Fidel Castro rose to power. Well, they tried to overthrow him with a coup d'etat. Let me say that.
So is that kind of like AWOL?
No, not necessarily. Going AWOL is leaving your post and not coming back. So maybe you were supposed to be back on base at 8:30 and you didn't come back, you would be considered AWOL. You know what I'm saying? A coup d'etat is literally civics the leader, you're the general, you take the military, overthrow civic, and install yourself in the power. Saddam Hussein was a coup d'etat.
I remember like in 11, it said he gonna have a small army.
You do say he have one.
He gonna, what he's doing.
That is correct, Omar. No, hold on. Omar said, similar to soldiers or officers in the ancient world would assassinate the king to take their place. That is similar. That's different. We're going to see how that's different. Let's read Revelation 17. Revelation 17, give me verse 12. Let's see, the kings give their power to the beast.
Yeah, that's what they want to say.
Yeah, they don't overthrow them. They willingly give it. A coup d'etat is a coup. I don't know who the Joint Chiefs of Staff is right now, but I'll just use the one that's in my mind that I know everybody knows, which is Colin Powell. Colin Powell was the Joint Chiefs of Staff under the younger Bush. So a coup d'etat would have been Colin Powell taking the military, overthrowing the younger Bush, and installing himself. Oh, all the time. If you're not aware what the Joint Chiefs of Staff is, that is the highest military position that any military officer can hold. You know what I'm saying? Usually, Emma can correct me if I'm wrong, most Joint Chiefs of Staff are usually 5-star generals before they ascend into that position. It's not necessarily a prerequisite, but I don't recall any Joint Chiefs of Staff that were anything less than a 5-star general. Thank you.
They said Colin Powell was the first
African American.
He was the first black Joint Chiefs of Staff.
That's what they said.
Not what they said, but they said he was the first one to come from like a regular. He came in regular, I guess. He didn't come in like no. He didn't come into the military as like no officer.
He was in the military.
No. I'm saying he rose up like they said he worked his way up to a 5-star general. So I guess
You have to work your way up to a 5-star general.
I know some people go into the military and like high rank.
Like Naval Academy and like that type of stuff.
They do what?
Most of them going to the Naval Academy and Air Force Academy. They go to the specific school.
Yeah, to come.
Oh, what you talking about? He didn't go to West Point.
Yeah, they was just pretty much saying he kind of went in regular at college.
Oh, I mean the majority of people.
Worked his way up.
I mean the majority of people who join the military don't go to West Point.
I'm not even saying West Point. Like, I don't know. Maybe I read it.
No. What I'm saying is, I understand what you're saying.
Like people go to ROTC, go to college, and
or say
graduate.
Marvin say 4 stars only, 5 stars was only during the World Wars.
I was saying like people go to
Yeah,
college.
you can take classes to come in as an officer, as
Right.
opposed to being a lesser.
Yeah,
rank.
that's going to West Point.
Oh,
Now, I mean,
West Point was a particular school.
that's the Army school.
Right.
Like you can't go to a regular college and get ranked in the Army. You got to go to West Point.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to go to West Point. And Emma can speak on that because she went to West Point. That's like you go to, like you know how Army Navy have a game. You went to that college, or you went to the Naval Academy. Because like David Robinson went to the Naval Academy and he had delayed playing in the NBA. That's right, they're a commissioned officer is what it's called. That's right, I forgot about that. Because he had to wait a few years before he could play because he had to maintain to his obligations for going to the Naval Academy. Roger Staubach went through the same thing, former quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Now they can waive it depending on the individual, but you'd have to be a very, very elite prospect to say that we're gonna waive that for you, because it's like a couple years they got to go fulfill their obligation, and then you have the Air Force Academy. So, like, you couldn't go to the University of Georgia and be a commissioned officer there. Like, you got to go to West Point. You know what I'm saying? Now you talking about regular enlistment? I swear in and go to boot camp. That's what you're saying, Cole
I
Powell.
was saying that because I remember Jamal, he did all the time, and he graduated in the program, all the program. And from what I know, he told me, I could misunderstood what he was saying. He went in, he ain't go in he went in at some sort of rank.
When you have a degree, you get a more.
No, he talking about high school.
When you got a college degree, like you ain't no E1
No.
if you got a
Oh,
college
he talking about RO, but he talking about you got to be an ROTC.
But like you said, the academy, that's how they get to that general.
Hold on. And she said after his graduation in 1958, Powell was commissioned a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army.
Second lieutenant is, I think that's like the lowest officer.
Okay.
If you go,
Okay, that might be what it was.
yeah. Like if you do high school and you're in the Air Force, yeah, that's like the lowest officer.
Right. I guess that's what it was. He came in as second. And they were saying other staff, I guess they came in as commissioned officers or whatever.
So you can do, so there's 2 ways. You can actually be a direct commission, or you can go to like a OTC or West Point commission. There's 2 routes you can take. Most people, like you said, you go to college, whatever, they do an ROTC program, and then they come out and get commission.
Right. Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, you got to find the ROTC. Because then that make perfect sense. Because every college do got an ROTC program.
That's what I was referring to. When I say go to school, I say go to school for it. That's what I was.
No. Because my homegirl was in ROTC in high school, and that's how she got in the Air Force Academy.
They go to those different academies, those 4 years.
But Mama Steph say that's how her father got in. That he was in, he got in through ROTC. He said in 1989 he was promoted to a rank of general and appointed by George H.W. Bush to the position of chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. During his 35 years in the Army, he served 2 tours in Vietnam, was stationed in West Germany and South Korea, acted as President Ronald Reagan's Deputy National Security Advisor in 1987, and then National Security Advisor from 1988 until 1989, when he became Joint Chiefs of Staff. Highly decorated. Yeah.
Would you say the Joint Chief of Staff has a higher ranking than the Defense Secretary?
Defense Secretary is a cabinet position, and you don't have to be military. You know what I'm saying? If the president wanted to pick any one of us to be Department of Defense, we could. You just happen to be over the whole plate. But the Joint Chiefs of Staff, if my memory serves me correctly, that is the highest position in the military. That's usually an active military officer who's in there. You know what I'm saying? Because we were just talking about, because Donald Rumsfeld was Defense Secretary, and that nigga wasn't no soldier. You know what I'm saying? But come on with it. What we was? Oh, I was reading
Revelation
the
17 and 12.
Revelation 17 as well.
And the 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings, which have received no kingdom as yet, but receive power as kings, 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and shall give their power and strength unto the beast. These shall make war with the Lamb.
They're gonna give their power to the who?
Strength and power unto the beast.
So they're gonna give their power to this man. Now I want to say this is full disclosure because I know it might be some people on here who had this thought. See, we not one of them Israelites that have problem with people in the military. I ain't got nothing negative to say about nobody in the military. And if you got something negative to say about somebody in the military, you know what I'm saying? Screw you. And I mean that sincerely. Because why am I have problem? Most people did not join the military because they wanted to be a stone cold killer. Most people joined the military because they saw that as a means to do something positive with their life. Some people got into it because they wanted to get some form of discipline. Some people said this is the only way to get out of the situation and circumstance that I'm in, so I'm going to join the army. And some people join it because it's a legacy thing. Their daddy was in it. Their granddaddy was in it. Their great-granddaddy was in it. And you joining it too. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't got no problem with it. I ain't got no problem. And I'm saying that as a man whose grandfather was in the army. I got my uncle was in the army. I got a multitude of peers who was in the Army, Marines, Air Force, and the Navy. You know what I'm talking about? And I ain't got nothing to say about nobody who was a police officer either. My father-in-law was a police officer. My father was a police officer. I got uncles who was police officers. You know what I'm saying? I got cousins who police officers. Saying, look here, man, they just got a job to do. If they sour at their job, then the Lord will deal with them. You know what I'm talking about? But I ain't got no problem with it. Never have, never will. You ain't never heard me say nothing about it unless a personal interaction I had with a police officer who disrespected me as a man. Because I ain't never disrespected no police officer who didn't disrespect me first. You know what I'm saying? Straight up and down. Because he's still a man. I'm going to give him your respect as a man. But if you don't show me respect as a man, I'm not giving you none in return. So, Lane. Say, it just depends on who you ask. My stepnephew's in the Army on active duty. I did active duty. And I'm just glad I got through it. She said, I heard because he swore an oath to serve an idol. Man, people really say that. But it's not really that you swore an oath to an idol god or your country. You taking an oath to hold up the ideals of what you say you represent. So you saying you swearing to defend the country against all enemies, foreign and domestic, or this, that, there, and the third. So you're just taking an oath that you're gonna do your job. You know what I'm saying? And ain't nothing wrong with that if that's what you believe that at the time. You know what I'm saying? I can't fault or knock somebody. That's why the oath of service. I can't knock somebody for what they saw at that particular time in their life as the best decision for their life at the time. You ain't doing nothing illegal. You ain't doing nothing ungodly because I can't call a soldier a killer unless they kill innocent civilians in battle. You're going to war. You're fighting other soldiers. I can't call you a killer in the traditional sense. You're a warrior. Because if that's the point, then we got to call David a killer because he was a general of the army. The book literally say he fought the wars of Yahuwah. Wars happen. It's a part of human existence. I'm not knocking nobody who got the heart and will to do something that you see how they go back to that silent weapon we read. You want to sit back and be a hypocrite while you sitting the people off and then sit up on your moral high horse and talk about what they went and did. Shut your funky behind up, nigga. I don't want to hear that junk. Yeah, they were talking about they wanted her to repent for serving Esau. Meanwhile, these niggas were selling crack, selling coochie, telling lies, doing all type of stuff. So where your service to Esau from? It ain't no difference. Hypocrite, shut your mouth. Say people go in the military from Job Corps. I didn't choose to. They offered me advanced training. Oh, I can believe that too. I don't knock nobody for nothing. I ain't got no problem with nobody who was in the military. Never had, never will. It just wasn't for me. And like I said, my granddaddy told me at a young age not to do it. So for me, I didn't care why he said not to do it. Granddaddy said don't do it, so I ain't doing it. And that was it for me. Richard said not to do it, so I ain't doing it. I ain't asked no questions why. He said adamantly, don't join the army, boy. You understand me? My dad, but he did time in it. He was a mortician in Korea and Vietnam. So he told me not to do it. That was enough for me. Let's go back to this protocol. I am in the reflex of the forces of the law. Oh my God, today. All these questions are such as ought not to be touched upon directly. I think I read that part. Without detailed exposition that the principles of the contemporary law are acknowledged by us. The reason of keeping silence in this respect is that by not naming a principle, we leave ourselves freedom of action to drop this or that out of it without attracting notice. If they were all categorically named, they would appear to already been given. The mob cherishes special affection and respect for the geniuses of political power and accepts all their deeds of violence with the admiring response. Okay, we read that part. He said, but it's clever if you trick, if you like, but the craftily played, how magnificently done with impudent audacity. We count upon attracting all nations to the task of erecting the new fundamental structure, the project for which has been drawn up by us. This is why, before everything, it is indispensable for us to arm ourselves and to store up ourselves the absolutely reckless audacity, the irresistible might of the spirit, which in person of active workers will break down hindrances on our way. When we have accomplished our coup d'etat, we shall say then to the various peoples, everything he has gotten terribly bad. All have been worn out with sufferings. We are destroying the causes of your torment, nationalities, frontiers, and differences of coinage. You are at liberty, of course, to pronounce sentence upon us, but it can possibly just be one if it is confirmed by you. Before you make any trial of what we are offering you, then the mob will exalt us and bear us up in their hands and unanimous triumph of hope and expectations, voting, which we have made the instrument which will set us on the throne of the world by teaching even the very smallest units of members of the human race to vote. By means of meetings and agreements with groups, then we will have served its purpose and will play its part, them for the last time of the unanimity of desire to make the acquaintance with us before condemning us, to secure that we have everybody vote without distinction of classes and qualifications in order to establish an absolute majority, which cannot be got from the educated property classes. In this way, by inculcating in the sense of self-importance, we shall destroy among the Goyim the importance of the family. Do you hear what they just said? That their objective is to destroy the importance of the family. Now, why is that relevant? Well, let's take a look. Hebrews 13:1.
Let brotherly love continue. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained Malachim.
Now, brotherly love is obviously the workings of the what? The family. Continue.
Remember them that are in bonds as bound with them which suffer adversity, as being yourselves also in the body.
Listen.
Marriage honorable in all, the bed undefiled, but whoremongers and adulterers, Elohim will judge.
Now, if marriage is honorable to God, they are trying to destroy the family. Now, let's go to Exodus 20. What it is, verse 3, verse 4. Tell me what 3 say. It's all good.
You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make unto you any graven image or any likeness that is in Shamahim above, or that is in earth beneath, or that is in water under the earth. You shall not bow down yourself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahuwah your Elohim, a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth of them that hate me.
Go ahead.
Showing mercy on the thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. You shall not take the name of Yahuwah your Elohim in vain.
Go ahead.
For Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that take his name in
We'll
vain.
get there, Vincent.
Remember the Shabbat day to keep it Kadash. 6 days shall you labor and do all your work. But the 7th day, the Shabbat of Yahuwah your Elohim, you shall not do any work. You nor your son, nor your daughter, your manservant, nor your maidservant, nor your cattle, nor your stranger that is within your gates.
Come on.
For 6 days Yahuwah made Shamahim and earth, the sea, and all that is in them. And rested the 7th day. Wherefore Yahuwah Baruch the Shabbat day and hallowed it.
Come on.
Honor your father and your
There
mother.
it is. Honor your who?
Your father and your mother.
See, that's destroying the family. That's destroying the family. Ephesians 5:22. Because now you have people who don't want to be married. You have more people who don't want to have children. You have more people who don't want to stay married. It goes back to what we read from the Frankfurt College. No. She honest with herself. She ain't wrong. Every woman, just because you got a vagina don't mean you should have children. But I'm honest with you, a lot of women are just them whole lazy. They selfish and they lazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to do. She already know I'm selfish and lazy. Yeah, a woman like that don't need to reproduce. She gonna destroy her children. I mean, hey, I ain't mad at him.
I know a dude that say he don't want kids just because.
It just is what it is. It just is what it is. It is what it is. It ain't for everybody. Because some dudes don't need to have kids. Yeah, some dudes don't need to have they genes reproduce. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sometimes it's just best to keep. Hey, man, don't make no babies, cuz. I mean, look at it, man. I'll be honest with you. All of us know probably 10 to 15 women that should have not had children. And the very stuff that you say this woman say why she don't want children, they do that and they got children. And not just one, but 3 or 4. You know what I'm saying? Hey, why y'all over there playing? Y'all always ready to tell, but you'll never tell on yourself. I look like I'm smiling with you. Where you at, sir?
Ephesians 5 and 22.
Ephesians 5 and 22.
Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Mashiach is the head of the assembly. And he is the savior of the body. Mm-hmm. Therefore, as the assembly is subject unto Hamashiach.
Now you look at this here, right? When you look on the internet, what's the biggest thing you hear people arguing about all day long? Submission. That's what you hear people arguing about all day long. You hear women on Clubhouse arguing about it all day long. My thing is, if you don't want to submit to the dude, why you married him? Matter of fact, if he good enough to submit for you to open your legs to, then why is he not good enough to submit to in life? Because if he ain't good enough to submit to in life, you shouldn't be submitting to him physically. Just don't make sense. Now, you got some men that the only time they dominate a woman is in the bedroom. Because he ain't dominating nowhere else in life. And that's unfortunate also. You know what I'm talking about? I ain't saying that to be funny. I ain't saying he justified, but I don't see how dudes be broken. You worrying about some vagina. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about, yeah, man. You ain't got no wife and no kids, and you worrying about some vagina, and your wallet can talk back to you. You know what I'm saying? Your bank account say, man, it's been a long time since you've been around here. They ain't put no interest on these 35 cents you left in here. You worry about no woman, you need to get your life together. You know what I'm saying? I heard a dude the other day, so you saying that broke men shouldn't be dating? I heard a dude say that to somebody else. I'm like, shoot, why you worry? In my mind, I'm like, why you worry about it? You broke and you worry about some vagina. I don't even know how that make common sense in your brain. You ain't got no money, but you got time to hunt. That's why you broke. Because you worry about the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? I know if you broke, you ain't thinking about God. Little freaky behind nigga. No, if you broke and you thinking about coochie, I know you ain't thinking about God, bro. You ain't looking. No. I know if you broke and your mind on coochie, I know your mind ain't on, because it ain't on your money. It ain't on your studies. It ain't on your growth. It ain't on the gym. It ain't on nothing. But I want some yams. Should have went to your grandma's house. She'd have made you some yams. You don't need no yams. Nah, you get you some candy yams. You know what I'm saying? No, they don't take it a step. My God, today I don't even want to know. I'm scared to find out. But you know, a lot of these brothers won't tell them that. But you got a lot of women, I ain't submitting, or they gonna submit with qualifications, but we don't talk about that. Your God say to submit to your husband. I don't say to submit to your husband. Your God told you to do that. And if you got a problem with that, take that up with him when you see him. Because I'm not gonna argue with you, baby. I ain't gonna tell you what to do. I ain't gonna submit to that man. Well, shoot, don't. What the hell you think I'm gonna do? You know what some do? You got to make her submit to me. I can't make her do nothing. Because if she won't submit to you, she gonna sure listen to me, huh? I don't know why dudes think like that. Go get another dude and tell her to submit to me. Nigga, she ain't listening to you. And you lay on top of her every night. The hell she gonna listen to me for? If you got to ask for a woman to submit to you, she don't like you. So you shouldn't have married her anyway. You shouldn't have had sex with her. I ain't asking nobody to submit to nothing. You don't ask. He tell you what it is, and you can get out and you can roll out. What that boy say? Autobots. Roll out. Yeah, that's it, man. I'm not asking no woman for that. Because I just look at it as if she don't want to do it, she's either a disciplinary problem or she don't like you. And I think it's 50-50. A disciplinary problem and she don't like you. Because some people are a disciplinary problem. When I say disciplinary problem, I'm not talking about chastising and beating on nobody. They don't know how to remain disciplined, to have self-control in a particular vocation. That's what I mean. And I'm not dealing with that. For what? Come on, man. Read me verse 25.
Say, husband, love your wives, even as Mashach also loved the
And then that's the reverse part, is dudes don't love their wives. They ain't willing to lay down their life for their wife. So then you have that. All that's destroyed because this dude worrying about, is she going to divorce me and take all my stuff? Now, I heard a lawyer say something today. It's a very astute observation. You may agree with it, you may not agree with it, but it's undeniable from a legal standpoint. He said, okay, if a man gets married, he has to provide what? Provision and protection, correct? Okay, a woman, she's supposed to what? Nurture, take care of the kids, be nice to them, give him sex. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. He was like, okay, in the American courts, if a woman divorces her husband, the courts cannot compel her to be nice to him, to raise his kids in a certain way, to nurture him, to give him sex, but the courts can force him to provide for her. And if he don't, he going to jail. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, in the West, that's a bad deal. I say strictly from a legal standpoint of how he described that, if you remove male and female out of it, and you take your emotions out of it, that's a sour deal. That I can be legally forced to do my job and you're not. You know what I'm saying? But you don't understand that dichotomy is being exercised in this country to destroy the family unit, because it'll make women feel like I'll leave when I want, because he still got to be my husband on the provision part, whether I'm with him or not. I can go over here and be with another man and he still got to pay me, but he gets nothing. You know what I'm talking about? It's forfeits from you and your end of the bargain. So guess what that makes men not want to do? Get married. So guess what that ends up happening? No family home and bastard children. Now you got a what? A blended family. All of this is to destroy the family. It's by design, and it's absolutely technically brilliant. It's technically brilliant. Because I was talking to a lady about this, about no-fault divorce. Y'all know what no-fault divorce is, right? Oh, y'all don't know what that is? No-fault divorce means that there does not have to be a legally tangible reason for See, before no-fault divorce, when you filed for divorce, you had to bring a legally standard reason for divorce. You had to bring proof, and it had to be something that is legally held for grounds for dissolving the marriage. Physical assault, adultery. Like you had to bring something. It wasn't irreconcilable differences. It's not no, I'm not happy. That before no fault divorce, that was not legal grounds. You couldn't divorce under those grounds. All of this is created to destroy the family. This is why I told you it's not about men, it's not about women, it's about social constructs. Because you imagine if there was no such thing as no fault divorce, how many people wouldn't be divorced because they really didn't have a reason to leave? You didn't have a reason to leave.
And it kind of puts the pen for you to reconcile whatever difference you have.
You wouldn't have no choice. You wouldn't have no choice. You would either do that, but also we're taking into account that people want to serve the God of the Bible. Like I just seen a video where that lady said, what can we do to convince men to have sex with their woman while she on her period? And if you would have seen the comments from people in there, people said the Bible said that's wrong. He said, who cares about the Bible? We grown adults. But I ain't gonna tell you no lie. As a man, if I met a woman and she wanted to do that, I would never be with her again. If she brought that up, I would never talk to her again in life. She'd never see me again in life. Because that tells me all I need to know about the caliber of woman you are. I'm good on you. And I felt like that before the word. Baby, if you that pressed, I'm straight on that. I don't want that. Because I'm going to be like, well, how many other people you done had sex with on your cycle? And what other nasty, freaky stuff you done did in your life? See, that also destroys the family because the sexual inhibitions and thought processes go out the window. My Lord. These people definitely hate Yahuwah, but ain't much that we can do about it. Let me get to this part here, right? Why I stopped that? I don't remember. Well, this protocol pretty long. Listen to this part right here. He says, scheme of the government should come made, ready-made from one brain because it will never be clenched firmly if it is allowed to split into fractional parts in the minds of many. It is allowable, therefore, for us to have cognizance of the scheme of action, but not to discuss it lest we disturb the artfulness of the interdependence of its component parts. The practical force of the secret, meaning each clause, to discuss and make alterations in a labor of this kind means by numerous votings is to impress upon its stamp of all rationales and misunderstandings which we have failed to penetrate the depth of the nexus of its plottings. We want our schemes to be forcible and suitably concocted. Therefore, we ought not to fling the work of the genius of our guide to the fangs of the mob of a select company. These schemes will turn the existing institutions upside down. Just yet, they will only affect changes in their economy and consequently in the whole combined movement of their progress, which will thus be directed along the paths laid down in our schemes. Various names there exist in countries approximate one and the same thing, representations, ministry, senate, state council, legislative, and executive court. I need not explain to you the mechanism of the relation of these institutions to one another because you are aware of all that. And only take note of the fact that each of the above named institutions correspond to some important function of the state. I would beg you to remark to the word important. I apply not to the institution, but to the function. Consequently, it is not the institutions which are important, but their functions. The institutions that divided up among themselves are the functions of government, administrative, legislative, and executive. Now I'm going to drop down to this part. Now listen to this one. When we are introduced into the state organism, the poison of liberalism, and whose whole political complexion underwent a change, States have been seized with a mortal illness, blood poisoning. All that remains to wait to the death of their agony. Liberalism produced constitutional states, which took the place of that which was the safeguard of the Goyim, namely despotism. Y'all know what a despot is?
That's a plant, like a political plant.
That's like a boy.
No. That's a king or a ruler, a despot. Hold on, I'll give you the definition.
I thought that was like, oh, good. I feel it was a king or a ruler that was like put in power by somebody else.
This is the exercise of absolute power, especially in a cruel and progressive way. A country or political system where the ruler holds absolute power. Joseph Stalin was an example of that. Saddam Hussein was an example of that. Benito Mussolini was an example of that. Castro was an example of that. Napoleon Bonaparte, no, he did. Napoleon Bonaparte was an example of that. But when you look at a monarch, they had absolute power. So these people want the absolute power that they perceive Yahuwah has to rule over the people. So listen, liberalism produces constitutional states, which took the place of what was the only safeguard of the Goyim, namely despotism and a constitution. As you well know, is nothing else but a school of discourse, misunderstandings, quarrels, disagreements, fruitless party agitations, party whims, in a word, a school of everything that serves to destroy the personality of state activity. The triune of the talkeries has no less effectively than the press and the rulers to inactivity and impotence, and thereby render them useless and superfluous, for which reason indeed they have been many countries disposed. Then it was in that era of republics became possible of realization. Then it was that we that replaced the ruler by a caricature of a government, by a president. We replaced, taken from the mob, from the midst of our puppet creatures, our slaves. This was the foundation of mind, which we have had under the Goy people, I rather say under the Goy people, and in the near future, establish the responsibility of presidents. If you didn't catch it, they said they take men, set them up, they replace kings with their own people. No, but what it is, it took away despotism, one person having absolute rule, replaced them with a puppet government, and they call the shots from the back.
What would you call that? Like puppet government?
That's just what it is. Shadow government.
Because you think about when the whole king was in the land and wasn't calling them pretty much ruled it, but they just let him stay there.
See, that's not a despot because he don't have absolute. But even in the land, the king didn't have absolute power because you had the high priest. Remember, because Israel, by definition, is a theocracy. You know what I'm saying? Even more so with Mashiach being king and priest at the same time. Yeah, it's a socialistic theocracy because it has elements of capitalism, it had elements of socialism. How? Because there were things gathered to, they didn't take necessarily, when you look at true socialism, Israel didn't do that because you could own land and it was yours and nobody could take it. But nevertheless, you still tithe and you still made offerings, and that revenue was redistributed to those who didn't have. Now, it wasn't redistributed to those who did have, but remember, it was given to the priests, the fatherless, the stranger, and the widows, and the poor. It was redistributed. And you were supposed to have, if you had vineyards or certain things, you were supposed to leave some out there for the poor so they could come and get something to eat. At the same token, like you read in the parable of paying a man a penny, you could set your rates for what it is that you did and what you agreed to pay somebody, which is why the law says if a man work for you, don't hold back his wages, give him his money. But it's based on what y'all agreed to.
That kind of like Jezebel, she was kind of running the country.
She wasn't running the country per se. She was persecuting the prophet.
She was controlling the king.
I don't even say she was controlling him because he was worshiping them gods with her. It wasn't an instance where I'm gonna be over here worshiping Yahuwah, baby, worship Baal. They were balling together.
Yeah, because in the land of Israel, there wasn't really a lot of Levitical priesthood in Samaria.
They were balling together. And remember, he was in a part where there were no righteous kings. So
I can see how slavery would be beneficial in the social just in the instead of like you were saying, you could set wages and rates and work for somebody for X amount of time. If you were staying a widow, you pretty much get back into the feet.
and that was the objective.
Right.
The objective was for, that's why he said, hey man, if somebody sold themselves to you in bondage, period of time, set them free, because it wasn't a society built on exploiting people for an extended period of time, much less exploiting anyone at all. Yeah, and that's why he said don't charge no usury to your brothers. The system was set up to be non-exploitative. You know what I'm saying? Okay, people can work for you, that's fine. You can charge what you want for your goods, that's fine. But oppressing people and exploiting people, because you got to remember a lot of people didn't, because you would be hiring somebody to work in your vineyard, hire somebody to tend to your cattle.
It'll be easier to weed out wicked too.
Absolutely.
Based on how the law set up. You
Absolutely.
already tell us working on something like that.
Absolutely.
How he coming up.
He's gonna get exposed. He's gonna get exposed. Because you got to realize the type of industries that we have in America, they didn't have that. So the opportunity for the capitalistic exploitation that you see in America, it would have never arisen in the land because they didn't have them type of industry. But I sincerely believe that if you would have gave a lot of them Israelites in the land at that time, them type of industries, they would do the same thing that these people doing over here. Yeah, you talked about. Yeah, I mean, capitalism in and of, like I said, no system in and of itself is wicked. It's the application by the people who using it. But capitalism is such a economic system that is so easily teeters on the line of exploitation that you have to be a just man not to do it, and most people just aren't that. They just aren't that. So it is very easy. Because how do you know that? Because, like I said, somebody could make billions of dollars and they could feel comfortable paying you a dub. It really about how much leverage you got. But again, that's going to be, I mean, you know, capitalism is dog eat dog, go for what you know. Strongest nigga win. You know what I'm saying? The nation of Israel wasn't set up on the strongest nigga win. This is not how it wasn't set up. Yahuwah didn't set it up that way. Now, he told you that there'll be people who have more than others because he would increase people cattle and crop more than others. But it wouldn't be based on, I'm better than you, I'm going to stamp you out. You know what I'm saying? It just wasn't set up.
About America, like, it's not just one people. Like in Japan and China, they all one people. So it's all kind of like family in a sense.
They don't give a damn. They operate by the same tenets. Because they got, yeah, Japan is capitalistic.
No, I'm just saying as far as this, how they treat, like you said, the poor. But like you said, we in the land, you know that.
Oh, it just look that way. Because China don't give a damn. They don't give a damn. See, China don't got socialism. China got hardcore communism. Absolute state rule, smashing all dissent, give me all the money.
How they thrive?
You thrive because this is what you gonna do. That's all they know.
Yeah, the government, they give everybody their portion.
Yeah, that's all they know. They don't know anything else. You know what I'm saying? Now, some of them, they want to come over here to America. They say freedom, freedom. But it's really, if I want to be a girl, I can be a girl, even though I'm a boy. If I want to get gangbanged, I can get gangbanged. You know what I'm saying? If I want to worship a dog, I can do that. That's why people want to come over here and to get the money, but they know that you can get the money and you could be a real live large piece of human excrement to do it. Of course, because we ain't even got to that part where it speaks about how they feel about the proletariat, aka the workers. They feel like the workers being. We're gonna actually read what they say. This document was written in 1800. I don't want you to know this. 1700s at the earliest, and it literally says that we're going to take the wages and keep them stagnant and keep up the rise of the price of goods so that we can control it. And what they arguing about on this campaign trail right now? Rate of inflation, stagnant wages. My God, today. Listen. By the time we shall be in a position to disregard forms and carrying through matters which our personal puppet will be responsible, what do we care if the ranks of those striving for power should be thinned? If there arises a deadlock for the impossibility of finding presidents, a deadlock which will finally disorganize the country. In that order, our scheme may produce results. We shall arrange elections in favor of such presidents as in the past, some dark undiscovered stain, some Panama, or other than they will be trustworthy agents for the accomplishment of our plans, or fear of revelations from the natural desire of everyone who has attained power, namely the retention of privileges, advantages, and honor connected with the office of president. Now, you know what they said, a Panama, you know what that Panama is? Them 1,000 bottles of baby oil in your house. See, what he just said is we'll give these people power, but we're going to keep some type of dark secret on their head so they do what we tell them to do. You know what I'm saying?
I seen Charles White doing an interview on that real quick saying you can't even be clean and get to the top because as soon as they see it's not enough, they don't even
they just gonna stop fooling with you. That's why I put that Nora interview on there just because I ain't seen it in a while.
You said something about that door?
Yeah, obviously he decided to go through one of them doors. He said, I don't know if it's some homo stuff over there or was it some devil stuff, but I went straight. And he said, I ain't made that money ever since. Then he got that podcast, and here came Puffy.
That revolt now.
On that revolt. So I'm gonna revolt all right. Yes. Go ahead and get it for him. Psalms 83.
I mean, yeah, because like here people like Clyde Davis and Lucian and stuff like that, like niggas on that.
Yeah, and that's just on a low level. I just use them because he's out there right now. He said those dark secrets only work with people whose money is tied to public image. Yes, that is correct. Those who don't care, don't care. But if you're a president, you know, Obama ain't want nobody to know he liked to get ahead while smoking crack. You don't want nobody to know that.
See, that chef that got killed, like his little local thing on the side too. You know, his chef died. You heard about that? Yeah, Obama said he died, and Obama.
That nigga had drowned. He said he wanted to live too far in the water.
But he could swim though.
That's what happened to Ron Brown. You remember Ron Brown? Y'all know who Ron Brown is? Oh, let me talk to you about Ron Brown. Obama like a little boutique. Ron Brown. He died in 1996. Ronald Harmon Brown. He was the United States Secretary of Commerce under Bill Clinton. He was chairman of the Democratic National Committee and the first African American to hold these positions. He was killed in a plane crash in Croatia in 1996. A lot of people believe that Ron Brown had information on the Clintons and that they had him taken out because he could expose the Clintons. Yeah, on Bill Clinton. Because it was said at that time that Bill Clinton was selling a lot of dope. That I read a book when I was incarcerated about Bill Clinton's dealings in Arkansas, and about numerous people who came up who accidentally stumbled upon his drug operation allegedly. And they did. You know what I'm saying? It's been said that him and his wife allegedly have murdered numerous people for numerous reasons. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, you have to look at stuff like that. Bill Clinton rose up out of nowhere. Y'all too young to remember when he ran for president. He was a nobody. I mean, he was governor of Arkansas, but he wasn't that well known. You know what I'm saying? He's not like Joe Biden, who was a career politician, who ran for president before and lost. He's not like Donald Trump, who's ran for president before and lost. You know, George Bush was a legacy pick, so you're going to know who that is. But at least George Bush was the head of a multi-billion-dollar company, governor of Texas, owner of the Texas Rangers. You know what I'm saying? He had some type of profile public. But then again, Ronald Reagan was nothing but an actor. Now he was governor of California. He was an actor, then he was governor of California, and then he became president.
So he played movie.
Yeah, he was a movie actor. Now, of course, George H.W. Bush was a career politician. Like, he was the head of the CIA. Yeah, he was a career politician. So that's a little different. Jimmy Carter, who's still alive, by the way. He was governor of Georgia. But the person he replaced is the only person who became president and vice president, never winning an election. Do you know who he replaced? Do you know who was president before Jimmy Carter? No. Gerald Ford, the 33rd degree Freemason. Gerald Ford became vice president of the United States of America when Spiro Agnew resigned, being Richard Nixon's vice president. Hey, tell them to be quiet. Tell them to be quiet. Hey, y'all need to be quiet. I don't know what you're talking for. And then he became president when Richard Nixon resigned. So he's the only man in United States history to be vice president and president and never be elected. Never was elected. Gerald Ford. Never ran. Never ran. Because, see, Nixon wasn't going to resign. They kind of told him, go sit your behind down somewhere. Yes, he was. Nixon was a Republican. Richard Nixon is quoted as saying about Bohemian Grove, and I quote, that this is the most faggotiest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Because he said when he got there, the men were in dresses singing show tunes. Men, among other things that he saw. Richard Nixon is quoted as saying, and I quote, that Bohemian Grove is the most faggotiest goddamn thing I've ever seen in my entire life. End quote. Richard Nixon, I believe he was from California. Nah, I don't think Richard Nixon was on none of that. He resigned because of Watergate. Watergate. Yeah, I am not a crook. Richard Nixon is the one who came up with the war on drugs. Ronald Reagan is the one who dropped the hammer. But Richard Nixon created that term, war on drugs. Come on with it, Psalms 83.
Keep not you silent, O Elohim. Hold not your shalom and be not still, O Elohim. Below your enemies make a tumult, and they that hate you have lifted up the head.
Tell them what a tumult is. When you look at this, this is representative of those 10 kings, there's 10 nations right here, right? My God.
That's Haman, to murmur, growl, roar, cry aloud, to mourn, to rage, sound, to make noise, tumult.
They run in their mouth. Listen.
They have taken crafty counsel against your people and consulted against your hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from a nation that the name of Yasharal may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against you, the tabernacle of Edom, the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gabal and Ammon and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Ashur is also joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot, Selah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera and to Jabin at the brook of Kishon. Perished at Endor, they became a dung for the earth. Make their nobles like a Reb and like Zeb. Yea, all their princes as Zabah and Zalmunna, who said, let us take to ourselves the house of Elohim in possession.
And possession.
O my Elohim, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burn a wood, and as the flame set the mountain on fire.
Go ahead.
So persecute them with your tempest, and make them afraid with your storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek your name, O Yahuwah. Let them be confounded and troubled forever.
Listen.
Yea, let them be put to shame and perish.
Listen.
That men may know that you, whose name alone is Yahuwah, are the most high over all the earth.
Now, a lot of people thinking that they want to plot, these people plotting on you because you Israel. They plot on you because they hate God. So when you look at, when you look at something like silent weapons for quiet wars, the protocols, these things have been about in order to cause the people to go against God. That's the whole objective. And that they actually plot and they conspire to do this. And this is all the nations of the world. Let's continue. It said, naturally, the authority of a president will become a target for every possible form of attack. But we shall provide him with a means of self-defense and the right of appeal to the people.
What you just were the president?
He said, naturally, the authority of the president will become a target for every possible form of attack. We shall provide him with means of self-defense and the right of appeal to the people, for the decision of the people over the heads of the representatives, that is to say, an appeal to the same blind slave of ours, the majority of the mob. Independently of this, we shall invest the president on the right with declaring a state of war. We shall justify the last right on the ground of the president as the chief of the whole army of the country. Must have it at his disposal in the case of need for defense of the new Republican Constitution, the right to defend which will belong to him, the responsibility of his Constitution. Hold on, because this other stuff, I'm gonna drop down to get to what I want. Listen to this one here. He said, by such measures shall we obtain the power of destroying by little step by step. All that at the outset, when we enter in our rights, we are compelled to introduce the Constitution of states to prepare for the transition to imperceptible abolition. Every kind of constitution, and the time has come to turn every form of government into our despotism. So their objective is to do what? Put that junk in the hands of one person. And that's what we read in Revelation 17. Put it in the hands of one person. The recognition of our despot may also come before the destruction of the Constitution. The moment for this recognition will come when the people, utterly weary by the irregularities and incompetence, a matter of which we shall arrange for, of their rulers will clamor. Listen to this. Away with them. Give us one king over all the earth who will unite us and annihilate the causes of the discords, frontiers, nationalities, religions, state debts, who will give us peace and quiet, which we cannot find under our rulers and representatives. Daniel 8:22. Man gonna tell you who can make war with the beast.
Now that being broken, whereas four stood up for it, 4 kingdoms shall not or shall stand up out of the nation, but not in his power. And in the latter time of their kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power.
Not by his own what?
Not by his own
Then
power.
we read last night the serpent giving power. All right.
He shall destroy wonderfully. and shall prosper in practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the Kadash people.
Who are you going to destroy?
The mighty and Kadash people.
Listen.
And through his policy also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand. He shall magnify in his heart. And by shalom shall destroy many.
Now, what do you destroy many?
By shalom.
Listen, what does craft mean? You remember what craft mean? Not macaroni and cheese? In the neighborhood, it's in the neighborhood. He gonna be a liar. You liar. Liar. That's what that boy be saying. That nigga be tripping me out. That nigga sound like he smoked a whole bunch of cigarettes in his day. He's a liar. Am I right, I say? Come over here to 1 Thessalonians what? It's 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. I want to say I tell you that. Pick up at verse 1.
Now we beseech you, brethren, by the coming of our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach and our gathering together unto him, that you be not soon shaken in mind or be troubled, neither by ruach, nor by word, nor by letter as from us, as that the day of Hamashiach is at hand. Let no man deceive you by any means. For except there come a falling away first, and that the man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition, who oppose and exalt himself above all that is called Elohim, or that is worshipped, so that he is Elohim sitting in the temple of Elohim, showing himself that he is Elohim.
Go ahead.
Remember you not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things?
Uh-huh.
And now you know what withhold that he might be revealed in his time. The mystery of iniquity do already work. Only he who know.
Tell him what the mystery of iniquity means. We don't went over it before. I'm not going to. Tavon, verse 12 or what? What passage you talking about? Because I just seen that. So
mystery is mysterion. That's a hidden thing, a secret, a mystery.
So what's the hiddenness of iniquity?
And iniquity is anomia. That's the condition of without law. Consistent violation of law, iniquity, wickedness.
The hiddenness or the secret of lawlessness. Who can tell me where the secrets of lawlessness started at? Started right with the serpent. It's already been working. Who was the next person to work it? Cain was the next one to work it. And you know who worked it after that? Everybody during the time after no. Worked him. Worked in. And then it's just been working ever since. Who started working it after the flood? Nimrod. Just kept on working, baby. Ain't never stopped. Read Psalm 83 and 12. That's what they say. Puppy gonna go in that courtroom and say it's bigger than Sean Combs. I'm gonna tell you the real head of CMB. It's the skinny nigga with the suit. Farnsworth Bentley.
He put me on too.
And Farnsworth say, nigga, I ain't working you for 15 years.
Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Elohim in possession.
Yeah, that's talking about Israel. All righty then. Continue with Thessalonians.
So for the mystery of iniquity do already work, only he who now let until he be taken out of the way. Then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the ruach of his mouth.
So now that wicked will be revealed. That wicked man, I should say.
And shall destroy with the brightness of his coming.
That's what you read in Daniel 8.
Whose comings after the work of Hashatan with all
I
power.
ain't gonna lie, it looks like we're doing the other half, the first half of Proverbs 10 to 12, that hatred stir up strifes. Because the hatred that these people have for Yahuwah is stirring up all this contention. We were talking about thrones a little bit, and we got a lot of stuff to do with. We got time. Come on.
Whose comings after the work of Shaitan with all power and signs and lying wonders, with all deceivableness of unrighteousness in them that perish, because they receive not the love of the truth that they might be saved. And for this cause Elohim shall send them a strong delusion, that they shall believe a lie, that they all might be damned who believe not the truth, but have pleasure in unrighteousness.
That's right.
But we are bound to give thanks always to Elohim for you, brethren, beloved of the Lord, because Elohim hath from the beginning chosen you to salvation,
and
sanctification of the Ruach
and belief. That's good. Now, Omar asked, was Nimrod being a hunter persecuting people that believe? It don't say. I'm talking about biblically. You can see that Nimrod was a wicked bastard when you look at stuff outside of the text that speak on his life. Now, we don't want to be so rigid that you can't necessarily look at things outside of the text that speak on the lives of certain people that are not went into great detail. Because some of these people are historical persons, and there are records of their lives. You know what I'm saying? Of what they had, what they've done, and what they haven't done, if you would. Now you got to take certain things, and you got to use discernment. And if you're going to be a researcher, you need to be studious and make sure that you validate and cross-reference things, and just don't run off tackle because you read it in one particular book. Because I'm gonna tell you this here. I'm gonna tell you how Mama Steph says she got to the protocols of the elders of Zion. He said, okay, because secular history I got. He said I did that with King Cyrus. Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with looking at secular history or certain, because King Cyrus is a real person. There's historical records of this man. There's historical records of Nebuchadnezzar. There's historical records of Xerxes. Xerxes wasn't just a nigga in 300. That was a real person. You know what I'm saying? It wouldn't make sense to have great detailed records of certain men because they're not relevant to the story of Israel. That's really why you don't have a lot of great detail. But I'm going to tell y'all how we ended up talking about the protocols of the elders of Zion. Because Emma was reading another book. I can send you the book, Son of Timothy. Lord willing, I'm going to take a chance to read that first chance I get. It's called The Genius of the Few, the story of those who founded the garden in Eden. So if you've ever done any research, when you read a book, you should see there's something you should see at the end of the book. And you know what that is? When they cite their sources. You know what I'm saying? I think when we used to go to the library, they might have called it a bibliography. You know what I'm talking about? Look, you come, yeah, I remember that. You know what I'm saying? So in the bibliography, whatever book you were reading, that's where you would see where they cited the sources, where they got their information from. So one of the citations in The Genius of a Few was the protocols of the elders of Zion. Now she was like, okay, I would gatekeep because I mean, I read that a long time ago. But it doesn't come up often to where it's at the front of your mind to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But it's a relevant piece of information when you're focusing on what it is, which is social engineering. Because that's what it is. It's not a Jewish document, it's a social engineering document. A lot of people do not give enough credence to social engineering. Most people want to be a mechanical engineer, a computer engineer. But then you have people who grow up and their whole desire in life is to be a social engineer. What we had on this one here. Listen to this part right here, right? Oh yeah, give me 1 Thessalonians 5:1.
But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord shall come as a thief in the night. Mm-hmm. For when they shall say shalom and safety, then sudden destruction come upon them as travail upon a woman with child.
And they say bring us this woman so we can have peace and safety.
And they shall not escape. But you, brethren, are not in darkness, that the day should overtake you as a thief. You are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as others, but let us watch and be sober.
Be sober, baby.
For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. But let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love.
That's right.
And for a helmet, the hope of salvation. For Elohim have not appointed us to wrath, but to obtain salvation by our Lord Yahushua HaMashiach.
That's good. Now let's go over. Oh my God, today took me right back to the beginning. See, like right here, I just ran across this where he lists his sources for the secret government chapter. Extraterrestrials among us, the Puzzle Palace, the Department of Defense, an American Dynasty, so on and so forth. I'm gonna tell you right now, if you read a book that said it did any type of research and he ain't cite no sources, I would just throw that book in the trash. No respectable researcher of any type would publish anything without citing your sources. I ain't even gonna say scholar. He damn sure ain't that, but he definitely ain't a real researcher. Because I can say that much, boy. Mr. Milton taught me that in 5th grade, boy. Real researchers cite sources. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I started getting on Wikipedia.
Yeah, because those people.
Go look at the bottom, it ain't even real.
Some people
It ain't even no real.
you can create accountable edit stuff.
Yeah, Wikipedia can't be taken as a factual source
That's why most teachers won't let you.
because anybody can update Wikipedia at any time.
Now, some articles you have sources, but you can put something on there without sources.
Yeah, it don't have to be verified.
Right.
You don't got to be verified. You could be on that, man. You can write anything. Anybody can get on Wikipedia, man.
That's what they doing.
That's what they're doing. Listen to this part right here. But you yourselves well know that to produce the possibility of expression of such wishes by the nations, it is indispensable to trouble in all countries. The people's relations with their governments are so utterly exhaust humanity with dissension and hatred and struggle. Listen to what he said you want to exhaust humanity with. Listen to it. This is where the pride of life comes in. With dissension, hatred, struggle, envy, and even by the use of torture, by starvation, and by the inoculation of diseases. He said by one, so that the Goyim see no other issue than to take refuge in our complete sovereignty in money and in all else. But if we give the nations of the world breathing space, the moment we long for is hardly likely to come. Let me get this last part. This is in Protocol 11, I believe. It might have been Protocol 10. Okay, I didn't read Protocol 11 yet. I'm going to read you the last part of Protocol 11 before I focus on this pride of life part. Listen to this part, and I'm going to find the part where he said about the wages. It says, for what purpose then we have invented this whole policy and insinuated into the mind of the Goys, without giving them any chance to examine its underlying meaning. For what indeed, if not in order to obtain a roundabout way, which is one scattered tribe unattainable by the direct road? It is this which we have served as the basis for our organization. Secret masonry, which is not known to, and aims, which are not even so much as suspected by these Goy cattle, attracted by us into the show army of Masonic lodges in order to throw dust in the eyes of their fellows. God has granted to us, his chosen people, the gift of the dispersion, in which appears in all the eyes to be our weakness, has come forth all our strength, which is now brought us to the threshold of sovereignty over the whole world. They mention masonry a lot. This document is really a Masonic document. You know what I'm saying? It's really not a Jewish document. Well, let me find this last part. We talk about the pride of life in more detail. What's that? What was it? Was it Protocol 9? Come on and read me first, John 2:15 one more time.
They love not the world, neither the things in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Abba is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, and the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life is not of the Abba, but is of the world.
Tell them what the pride of life is by definition one more time.
Pride is alazonia, empty braggart talk, and insolent, empty assurance, which trusts in its own power and resources, and shamefully despises and violates divine laws and human rights, and impious and empty presumption, which
you notice how it said to violate human rights? Now read me Job 20:1. We finna get ready to wrap this up. What time? It's almost 5 o'clock. I'm have a 3-hour break.
Say, then answers Zafar the Namathite and said, therefore do my thoughts cause me to answer, and for this I make haste. I have heard the check of my reproach, and the ruach of my understanding calls me to answer. Know you this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short.
The triumphing of the wicked is short.
And the joy of the hypocrite for a moment.
And the joy of the hypocrite. This is why that's what the pride of life brings. Do y'all know any examples of individuals who exhibited that pride of life? Obviously, the beast is the biggest example. But Absalom, Ahab / Jezebel, Jeroboam, Sennacherib. These are all people by their arrogance and their movements did not have the love of God in them because they trampled over others for their own selfish gain. Yeah, so the pride of life is really very destructive. Read that definition one more time because I need that definition to be considered.
That's empty braggart talk and insolent, empty
assurance. Empty braggart talk. You know what I'm saying? Now we read earlier that he resists the proud, he gives grace unto the humble. So this is the individual who is lifted up in their pride. That's why Romans 11:1 says what? Knowledge puff up, but love edify. That's braggart talk. What's the next thing you say?
The other one is an impious and empty presumption, which trusts in the stability of earthly things.
Now, an impious person is a non-faithful person. You trust in earthly things, or as Philippians says, your God is your belly, you mind earthly things.
You got self-confidence or boasting and pride.
And then you boast in your pride. Now, remember that the serpent was caused to do what? To go about his belly, because he minded earthly things. Esau is representative of that because he minded earthly things. He said, Amalek, son of Gideon, absolutely. So one of the aspects of having the pride of life is that you're concerned with carnal things, which is what that protocol is describing, that they're trying to push the people to be concerned with carnal things. We know Romans 8 say the carnal mind is enmity to God and is now subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be, and that the carnal mind lead to death. It literally said that he would move you to envies and strifes. These are literally the works of the flesh. And he said, be not deceived. Anybody who do these things will not inherit the kingdom of God. Therefore, you would be a willful sinner, and his love couldn't cover your sin. Therefore, you would stay poor because this man's life wouldn't be his ransom wouldn't be your riches. Read him Revelation 3:19.
As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. Behold, I stand at the door and knock.
Back me up. Give me 14 and a half.
And unto the Malachim of the assembly of the Laodiceans write, these things saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of Elohim. I know your works, that you are neither cold nor hot. I would you were cold or hot. So then because you are lukewarm and neither cold nor hot, I will spew you out of my mouth.
That's right.
But you say I am rich.
Paul, you say I am what?
I am rich.
But you what?
And am increased with goods, and have need of nothing. And know not that you are wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked.
Now, why is this person poor if they have great riches? Because they had the riches of this life, they didn't have the treasures in heaven. They didn't have, read Proverbs 13:7.
There is that make himself rich, yet nothing, that make himself poor, yet great riches. The ransom of a man's life is riches, but the poor here not read you.
They didn't have the ransom of that man's life. That's why they poor. Come on back to Revelation. Don Joanne, I know you're not. Come on.
So because you say I am rich and increase with goods and have need of nothing, and know not you that you are wretched and miserable and poor and blind and naked, I counsel you to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that you may be rich, and white raiment, that you may be clothed, and the shame of your nakedness do not appear, and anoint your eyes with eye salve.
See, if you want to be rich, you're going to have to go through them sufferings like he went through.
Yes, many as I love, I rebuke.
That's good. That's good. We're going to stop right here for now. Hallelujah for Yahushua in the word. We're going to come right back at 8:30, Yahuwah willing, for technically day 5. Because it's Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But we still on Friday, so day 4. Whatever. Y'all get it. You know what I'm talking about?
How we end up playing the last day? I know there's
Y'all got the last 2. Y'all said the last 2. So, y'all willing, we'll be back at 8:30. And we'll rock out from there. So, you who are willing till then. Peace, NK. Shalom, Eric, man.